of the Unitarian Universalist Association. Wherever you are, wherever you're coming from, we welcome you. If you are angry or scared, if you are suffering from new fears or old hurts, we welcome you. If you are in a place of well-being or quiet joy and discovering new ways of being, we welcome you. And if you're someplace in between, we welcome you as well. Wherever you are on your journey, join us. I'd like to begin with a reading. It is from one of the members of one of my online support groups, and I don't know her real name, so I can't tell you who the author is. The name of the reading is Ahead. During this time of crazy uncertainty, here is something to consider when thinking about our kids and their academics. What if, instead of falling behind, this group of kids are advanced because of this? Hear me out. What if they have more empathy? They enjoy family connection. They can be more creative, entertain themselves, loving to read, learning to express themselves in writing. What if they enjoy the simple things, like their own backyard and sitting near a window in quiet? What if they notice the birds and the dates that different flowers emerge and the calming renewal of a gentle rain shower or snowfall? What if this generation are the ones that learn to cook, organize their space, do their laundry, keep a well-run home? What if they learn to stretch a dollar and to live with less? What if they learn to plan shopping trips and meals at home? What if they learn the value of eating together as a family and finding the good to share in the small delights of the everyday? What if they are the ones to place great value on our teachers and educational professors, librarians, public servants, and previously invisible essential support workers like truck drivers, grocers, cashiers, custodians, and healthcare workers, and their supporting staff, just to name a few of the millions taking care of us right now while we are sheltering in place? What if, among these children, a great leader emerges who has had the benefit of a slower pace and a simpler life, to learn what really matters? What if they are ahead? Join with me for a moment, if you will, for a time of quiet, a time to gather together, to put aside for a moment the thoughts and feelings we carry with us, to simply be in this moment. Get comfortable, relax. If you choose to do so, close your eyes. And then I invite you to take 3 deep breaths with me. May we find harmony in this time and in this company. May we experience wholeness. May we be peace. I'm glad you could be with us today. The title of my sermon is Both and. It's about learning to live with conflicting realities. As always, take what you like and leave the rest. Like many of you, because of the coronavirus, I'm sheltering in place. I live alone, but with various internet media, I end up talking to a good number of folks. I've noticed that there's a huge difference in the experiences that people are having. For most of us, this is a time of fear or concern, not just about the virus, but about our finances, what we're experiencing as a culture, and our collective future. We have so many questions. Many of our plans and dreams are going up in smoke. Young people have no idea if they will be able to move on to the next grade or if they will graduate. Jobs have been lost and businesses have folded. But at the same time, some people are connecting with their families, cooking and eating meals together and having family game nights. In some homes, much needed organizing and sorting is happening. Other folks are taking up hobbies they've never had time for. For some of us, this may be the first time in our lives that we've given ourselves permission to slow down. And all of these things are happening at the same time. We may be taking turns bouncing or sliding from fear to frustration, from connection to disconnecting, from spiritual growth to despair. And all of these feelings and experiences are real. One feeling or experience is not more valid than another. There's no blueprint here of how we're supposed to feel or what we're supposed to experience. Reality has always been made of very bad stuff and very good stuff, both going on at the same time. It's never been easy either or. It's always been both and. We can see that clearly now. For instance, for the first time ever, the Florida animal shelter is empty. No cats or dogs are waiting in cages, and shelters all over the country are reporting unprecedented numbers of adoptions. But veterinarians are being told to perform only the most essential of surgeries. There is no place in our state to get animals spayed or neutered, which means there's going to be a rash of unwanted dogs and cats in a very few months. Crime is way, way down. Domestic violence is up. So what are we to make of this time period we're living through? Of these feelings and experiences that are often juxtaposed against each other, sometimes in the same household. As a minister, I feel like I'm supposed to say something profound and wonderful, something helpful, something that makes you think, that makes your day better, or helps you get along. I'm not at all convinced I have that kind of wisdom. So instead, I'll just share some observations. As a disabled person, I belong to a number of online support groups for people with chronic health issues. Each has a different focus and outlook, and I've learned a lot from them. Currently, some of our group members live in New York City, and right now they or their loved ones are spending their days and nights in Central Park because Central Park has become the COVID-19 hospital for New York City. That's right. Tents have been set up right out in the open for people who have COVID-19. Huge army barrack type tents because there's not room for the vast number of sick folks in regular hospitals. And as you know, the death rate in New York is rather alarming. So it's really scary for my friends and their loved ones living there. Their concerns bring COVID-19 home to me. A number of people in each of my groups already have the virus, and many more have loved ones who have the virus. And some of my online friends have lost people they care about. One group member is only 18 years old and she's just returned to us. She was hospitalized with COVID-19 for 3 weeks and she almost died several times. Once an athlete with very good lungs, she's now trying to get the word out to her fellow teenagers that they are not immune. They need to take precautions too. More than one online friend has a parent in a nursing home, and nursing homes are on lockdown. In one post, I read about a father who's not doing well in the best of times, but now his wife of 50 years is not allowed to see or help him. He's disoriented, cut off from those who love him, and going downhill. After reading that post, I looked up from my tablet and I saw the bird feeder outside my window. A mourning dove was perched on the window ledge, cleaning up the last of last night's seed. The sparrows had not yet arrived for their breakfast. Tree branches were dancing in the wind. Squirrels were making an appearance. Frankly, my world is small now, and safe, and peaceful. As I wrote this, a cat lay down next to me and started purring. My reality is so safe compared to so many of my friends. COVID-19 is real, but so is my bird feeder. I'm not sure how to put those different realities together, intellectually or emotionally. I do think it's important to acknowledge both, not to deny either one. Sometimes, instead of connecting with people in groups online, I glance at the news. This can be a mistake. In Arizona, a legislator said that grandparents should be willing and even glad to die so that we can stop this social distancing nonsense and grandchildren can have a healthy economy. I was still reeling from that statement when I noticed a fellow from my state serving in Congress, supposedly representing me, who said that Americans dying is the lesser of two evils. We should all be willing to die rather than to let our economy stagnate. Who even thinks like that, let alone says it out loud? I have a very hard time with that. In 1977, I was living in New York City during the Great Blackout. The news accounts showed shops being broken into and rioting in the streets. And I'm sure that happened. But it's not what I experienced. I was living in Spanish Harlem, supposedly one of the worst neighborhoods. But during that blackout, the people in my neighborhood were looking out for each other. In the apartment building where I lived, folks were checking up on each other like crazy. One retired woman finally had to put a big note on her door saying, "Please do not knock on my door to see if I am okay. I'm fine, but I need to get some sleep." In the morning, when out in the light of day, I saw no evidence of rioting, no shops being broken into, just people checking up on each other. And everyone I knew later reported the same. Now, I'm sure there were stores that were robbed in New York City. There's always stores being robbed somewhere. But the blackout brought more caring than theft. And that's kind of what I'm seeing now. The news tells me all sorts of horrid things. And I have no doubt the horrid things are real. But it's not the whole story. There are flickers of light. In one online support group that I mentioned earlier, folks who have previously been isolated, alone, ignored by society, and feeling purposeless, those folks are now making masks to help keep others safe. One woman I know was initially almost frozen with fear that she would catch the virus. But she decided to focus on serving others. And now her business online for the first time keeps a good deal of her fears away. Still, another person I know was very concerned about how he was going to pay his employees when contracts were falling through. But he managed to turn things around, so now his business is making parts for much needed machines. His creativity is working for him. Lots of folks are getting creative, and good things are happening from our sheltering in place. People are planting gardens. Some are writing or doing art. Others are learning to cook for the first time. One person I know has made a game of seeing how many days a roll of toilet paper can last. All over, I hear stories about neighbors helping neighbors with shopping, medicine pickups, and yard work. And the essential workers, oh, the essential workers, doctors, nurses, hospital staff, employees of grocery stores, delivery people, they bravely show up for work each day, knowing they are at risk and that it might put their families at risk. Together, I bet you and I could probably come up with well over 100 other examples of people making a positive difference. When this is over, I hope we remember them. Now, I'm not saying that bad things aren't happening. Homeless folks, people trapped in refugee camps, and prisoners in jail don't have many options. Nursing homes have the highest risk people, and almost none have the medical supplies they need. I worry about them and whether the efforts made to mitigate the spread of the virus will even begin to adequately address their needs. A pandemic like this highlights where we have systematic problems in our society. And like all societies, we have our share. It's important in the days to come, we'll have to be very intentional to vote for people who are doing or will do whatever it is that we think is appropriate to handle a crisis like this. But the pandemic can be a wake-up call, calling us out of our normal everyday lives so that we pay attention to what's happening around us, outside of our insular lives. And having said that, I don't think it hurts to choose to highlight whatever good stuff we can. Near the beginning of this sermon, I told you that I feel like I'm supposed to say something profound and wonderful, something helpful, something that makes your day better. But maybe that's not really my job. Maybe that is your job. What are you experiencing? What do you see? Can you see the positive without denying the negative? When this is all over, we're going to be telling our stories to those who come after. We will tell the stories of greed and heroics, of meanness and kindness, of failed public policies and folks in government who made a difference. And for each of us, it will also be our personal stories that we tell. We make sense of our lives by storytelling. Some of our stories will be funny, some sad, some full of resilience and hope. And whatever our personal stories, we need to be open to hearing the stories of others, because their stories, their lived reality, is a part of the larger story that we will all be putting together. Jean-Marie, who is an online friend, was talking to someone who was filled with fear. There will be good days ahead, she said. They may not be steadily good days, but there will be good days, and smiles and laughter. And that will be the spiritual nourishment that gets us through. I think Jean-Marie is right. We need the smiles. We need the laughter. We need to be reminded to find joy in the little things. This is what will help to sustain us against conflicting realities, not just in these times, but in all times. So be it. I will now take a moment to extinguish the chalice. The chalice is a symbol of hope, of love, and of our time together. As we put out the candle, let us take its light into our hearts and lives. May we remember one another. And the peace candle, it's getting a bit low, but the peace too is important. May we share it and be peace. We have a couple of announcements before we close. We are gathering online approximately daily. These are highly informal times just to chat or to talk over serious issues as needed. Look to our Facebook page and the weekly Chirp email for schedules. And the first one is at 1 o'clock tomorrow. Same Zoom address as today. And we're working out how to take donations online. We still have our beautiful building and grounds to maintain and folks to pay. So please send in checks to the church. Members and friends, get your pledges in. And thank you to all of you. Is it possible for us to unmute to do the closing circle so that everyone can participate?
It's from home. I might even ask Meg if I can use bathrooms to do a shoot in. So
Okay.
I need a house that I can function in.
No idea what is
Go in.
currently
I
being.
need closet space. It's like I would love to live now.
Love is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. To dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This is our covenant. So be it. And I think Chip is now going to invite us into various small groups to chat. Thank you, all of you, for being here. I'm glad you were here today.